pick up one of the coastal traders, trading up through the Torres Strait and around into Weipa and down to Currumba. And it was an all-black crew, mainly like Torres Strait Islanders or Aboriginal people, so a composition. And there was no conditions at all. It was just, you're on $40 a week, bully beef and rice and no leave. And we had an issue on board the vessel over safety, where the captain said he'd fixed the matter up, got back to port, hadn't done it, so we put on a blue. So they put us on the beach. They logged us and put us on the beach. So that just give us time to organise for the union, and the union came in and away we went. So we become members of the union. I've been a member of the union ever since, until now.
It was the Ironworkers Hall in George Street North. I went there on the 5th of May, 1946.
And the Aboriginal Progressive Association were meeting there. At that meeting, it was very, very interesting because a big man got up. Oh, he was huge. I'm talking about 6 foot something. His name was Jackie Patton. Stand up for your rights, brother. I'm a little skinny black fella, mate, from the coast. Jesus, what's going on here?
Stand up for your rights, brothers and sisters. I nearly shit. I said, holy hell, what's going on here? So I hung around and I said to Jackie Patton, I'd like to get involved in this thing.
He was born before his time. What he said is, brothers and sisters, we should be setting up a mission station in front of the White Men's Parliament House in Canberra. And it was set up in 72 and called the Tent Embassy. The major one that occurred in that period was the Gurindji walking off from Wavell Station and settling on Waddy Creek. The old brother Lingiari, he came down and I took him around to meetings to raise the conscience of people and to raise finance. And there was 30,000 wharfies in those days, and we taxed ourselves $1 to build a fence around Waddy Creek, not to keep the Gurindji in, but to keep the gubbers out.
What have we been all up now? We've been all up from staking. We've been all what is the privilege down here. Wait for your union map to bring him food.
My first physical involvement with the actual Wavell strikers was when I took my truck down with a load of food down to the bed of the Victoria River where they were all camped, and they were just so overjoyed that they were getting support this time from the trade union movement.
As far as the MUA goes, that's real special for us to celebrate that history. To be here with the Gurindji though on the 50th anniversary is just amazing. The feeling that we all had when we started the march yesterday. We were asked to lead the rally, so to speak, and it was really special.
Gurindji mob up front with the banner. Come here, please.
The history of this struggle is fantastic, and I think a lot of us can learn a lot from they took on the biggest in the country at that time, 200 brave men and women, and they won the first round, and it's still going.
One of the most important events in Australian history, in our view. It's started the land rights movement, and it started as an industrial dispute, so it's something that's near and dear to our heart as trade unionists.
Pretty hard to describe, to take this back to the people, especially even my own family, and explain it to them. It's going to be obviously emotional and just put shivers, like I'm shivering now, just talking about it. That they were hard-working people, and that vesties come over here and just totally exploited them, and for the men to lead the charge and take their people with them, that's the biggest part of it,
The waterside works, and they were chucking in like 50 cents or something, which today you don't think much about it, but back in the day it was a lot of money, and certainly kept the campaign going until the day we got Whitlam to go up there and do what he'd done, That never resolved the matter, of course, but it went a long way to actually creating that awareness amongst people, that people had rights in this country.
And to you these deeds as proof in Australian law that these lands belong to the Gurindji people.
That was a major breakthrough, but it was the trade union movement that strongly supported the Gurindji stand.
In the absence of organised collective action, nothing happens. And having been mentored by Brian Manning, he stood with the Gurindji people from the beginning, and he was that type of leader. Learning about the historic role that unions have had, I realised that as a leader of a union, which happened by chance, I didn't intend to be a union leader, but I realised that with the things that I'd learned, whether it was through doing the formal learning or what I learned on the docks as a delegate, and then what I was doing as an official assisting my members, I had an obligation. We all have an obligation with what we know and what we're capable of. There will always be barriers for collective action, barriers of division. Historical bad blood, lack of resources are all barriers. But I strongly believe that if the community is on its knees and the fight is just, then the barriers can and must be broken. And when the next right leader comes, like Vincent Lingiari comes along, don't hold back, don't be a barrier yourself, and join the fight. Thank you, comrades.
We've got a national ATSI committee. It directs the union in where we need to be focusing. And I think that hard work is reflective in the fact the last 3 times that the ACTU has handed out awards for union activity around ATSI, the MUA has taken 2 of the last 3 awards.
We distilled all of the information that the 13 dialogues gave us and came out with a model that involved treaty making, a voice to the Parliament, and a truth commission.
We cannot continue to go on anymore being voiceless and powerless in our own lands. So far we don't have any say in any legislation, any policy at all. So from here, what we're saying to Australia is this relationship between us, this very poor relationship, full of rampant racism and what have you, has to stop.
Professor Pat Anderson, Auntie Pat, who was a stalwart of the union movement herself.
So we can all move forward and solve this unfinished business between us all, because it's definitely time.
She came and met Paddy here in Sydney at National Office, and Comrade O'Shane and myself, and asked if the union would lend me to the cause, basically. And Paddy didn't blink an eye. From there, I was able to spend more time on this very important cause.
So this is the Uluru Statement from the Heart. It's the document that came out of Uluru and the artwork around it.
What motivated me was I realised that there was something missing from our movement. Unlike the union movement, we don't have layers of representation. So when you think about unions, we're like different tribes. We speak different languages. The MUA speaks a different language to the CPSU, to the ASU, to the ETU. What we're able to do, though, is we come together under a council of trade unions, and we know that Sally McManus speaks for workers in this country, and we know that Paddy Crumlin speaks for maritime workers in Australia. And the guys on the Darwin Wharves know that I speak for them as their elected official there. So when I was involved in the dialogues and the conversation at Uluru, I realised that what we were basically calling for in all of those dialogues was that missing voice, that ability to come together with authorised representatives that are accountable to their people, to come together, have our internal debates, come up with a consensus or a majority position, and then go forward with a strategy and with a discipline to start winning some national change. There were around 250 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people coming from many different First Nations that endorsed that statement to call for a constitutionally enshrined voice and a Makarrata Commission unanimously and with standing acclamation. That is a collective decision of those people there, all of them. There is confusion about it. A lot of people have an automatic, okay, this is that recognition thing again, this is that recognised thing again, when this isn't. This has come out of a very legitimate, well-planned and informed process. And so once you explain what has happened, people get it and they understand the power of the collective voice and the constitutional enshrinement when you talk about the lessons of the past. The union has supported me also with the travels, the tour of the Uluru Statement. I knew people had to see it, so every opportunity that I had, I got in contact and I said, hey, I want to come and talk about this, or they would contact me and say, we've heard about this, can you bring it? It's been around 10 months now, soon to be 12 months, and everywhere I've gone, people get it, the support is there. For some people, they get really emotional. I find especially in the more remote communities, without a lot of ability to travel and to be heard, they really embrace the opportunity to have someone from their own community, from their own First Nation, come together with other nations. This is a national major reform. That's an opportunity that can't be let go of. There is no other major reform, major national reform for our people that we have the hearts and minds of the rest of the country for. Our union has taken a lead in this, and as we should. So we have an important role to play in this. That's not to say that we are leading this, but we need to use our collective to inform others, to use our organising skills, to use our unapologetic representation of the right thing to do. That's our role. Makarrata meaning the Yolngu word, the coming together after a struggle. There's this ancient process that is Makarrata that is being generously offered by Galarrwuy Yunupingu and the Yolngu people as a way to bring this country together in a way where Makarrata, a settlement, is going to make us a better country.
Lessons from the international First Nations in Canada and that, where treaties have been
We've been purposely divided by governments, we've been purposely divided by mining companies and corporates. And the beauty about the Uluru Statement is it says, this is how we can come together as a people, and the Commonwealth has an obligation because you have been a big part of dividing us for so long.
It's a bit of a tragedy when people feel disempowered, they feel they don't have the ability to bring about change, and through the activities and the programs that we have in place in the union to do that, then people won't feel that disempowerment, they'll feel empowered. That changes their thinking and it changes their whole life, it changes their social circumstance because they're, people are proud and strong. They're not going to be subservient anymore, they're going to stand up, and as soon as they do that, they become a role model for the person watching over there. Oh, hang on a minute, she done that, I can do it, so. And that's what the union is doing, and it's creating that confidence and that self-esteem in the broader cohort of ATSI people who work in the union.